I am between you and home. So I appreciate you staying here. My name is Marty Murillo. I work for a company called Precisely. And what I'm going to do today is talk about key design considerations when you're building your sales enablement. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is change the design. So we did Q&A at the end. I want you to stop me in the middle. This is going to be a discussion, okay? So I wanted to be able to interact with that. We don't have to wait to the end and you can take off. You can take off when I'm done. Yep. So, is this working? How about I do this? There's one big green button and I'm pushing it. There we go. Okay, so I work for Precisely. We are a leader in data integrity. We help companies acquire, cleanse, and provide some location context for their data so they can make really important business decisions based on that data. We talked about data here. Data is the new gold. Besides water, data is it, right? You can see we have customers, the Fortune 100, we have 99 of them. We have to have a conversation with Elon Musk because he's the only one that we don't have one with, but we'll get there. And I tell you this because the backdrop here is we're launching a brand new initiative, the Data Integrity Suite. It's everything that we're putting in millions of dollars because the CRO comes to me and says, Marty, we need sales enablement for the upcoming data integrity launch. It's like, okay. He said, we've invested millions of dollars. It's critical to our business as we move forward. It's a global program, and oh, by the way, it's not just our direct sales force, it's partners, okay? And oh, by the way, we need it in 3 months, and not all the modules are ready. Have you all done this before? This doesn't happen to you, does it? Am I the only one this happens to? So what we're going to talk about today is, okay, what design principles can we apply that will help you with challenges like this? The thing about the sellers is that they're the only audience that I know of that is not bashful. They'll give you immediate, specific, and hopefully non-punitive feedback. You don't have to guess with them. They'll tell you, right? And so how do we design something that's quick? How do we, I call them proven practices, not best practices, because best practices work in certain environments. Proven practices work across different environments, right? So I'll call them proven practices when it comes to development time. And then we'll talk about some measurement approaches, okay? So here's some of the key element of design, and we'll walk through it. So the first one is alignment. And so the first thing is important that you align your top key stakeholders. And so I think Siobhan talked about this yesterday. The visual that I used it with one of my tables, is I envision that, do you know what a troika is? It's a 3-horse drawn carriage. You know, you have the payload in the back. That's performance and revenue attainment. The 3 horses for me, sales, product management, and product marketing. Now these horses are powerful, they're single-minded, and they don't really always work well together. My point here for sales enablement is I try and pull them all together going the same direction because the payload is predictable revenue. That's what I'm trying to cross the finish line with. And so it's all about alignment, making sure that the right people are in the right meetings at the right time, and so that we can cross the finish line together. Microlearning, we talked about microlearning, breaking things down into bite-sized bits. So with the Data Integrity Suite, we did that. We have an e-learning course that was launched on Tuesday. By the way, we went live on Tuesday while I was here. And we broke it down so that they can take and they can consume what they want when they want it, yep. Indexing, so this is great for younger generations, but people don't want to read. We already talked about that. Sellers don't read. They just don't. What is it? TLDR, too long, didn't read. They don't do it. So we break it down. So we index it. We have a header, and it's like, here's this video. It's 45 minutes. Go to this mile marker, this minute marker here for this type of content. We kind of index it for it so they can search for it and get it quickly, right? And so we did that with a lot of our content. We have a big content repository here. The 70-20-10 model, you all talked about this, where 70% is about, actually doing the work, 20% is with your colleagues, and 10% is actual courseware. Now we're upside down for that for the moment. We're still doing courseware-driven stuff, but hopefully we'll get it turned around. And then cohorts. This is important because the sellers don't just learn from the sage on the stage, they learn from each other. So we put them in like groups. And we did this with the data integrity suite. We put all the SEs together, the pre-sales technical folks, all the AEs, the BDRs, our inside sales reps. We put them all in like groups because they had different perspectives and different needs around how to sell and how to start with the data integrity suite. Coaching, it is often overlooked. People kind of leave it. We did our training, done. I'm off to the next project, which I'm already off to the next project. But coaching, we have to make sure that they get it, that they really apply what they've learned, and then they get feedback right away. Otherwise, they'll forget it. What was it, 90% of the stuff that they'll forget? And so the coaching helps. Role-based, we talked about this. We developed the content for the data integrity suite so that it's by role. So a BDR is at the top of the funnel, so they have discovery questions. As we get further down for AEs, they're all about the value framework. How do we position the data integrity suite for our clients and customers? Pre-sales, it's all about how do I install, configure, troubleshoot in the different environments, right? So it's all different. Application, so what we did with the data integrity suite is we made them do the pitch. They had to apply it. So we said, here's the pitch, we're recording the pitch, and we're loading it up to a server so everybody can look and see how they're doing it, because we want to make sure that they get it. It's one thing to see it and hear it, it's another thing to do it. So application's really, really important, okay? How many instructional designers are in here? Okay. Not many. So instructional designers, of course, they design, you work with them, right? They design and develop your content. So we are taught, my master's in education, we were taught a model, the ADDIE model, yes, analysis, design, development, implementation, evaluation. It's a great way to learn. It's from the 50s. It's tried and true. It doesn't really work in today's environment. It's too long, it's too rigorous, it's arduous. So I'm proposing we do a little bit different. Preparation, presentation, practice, and performance. This is a shortcut. Now, the thing about design is you can't take a shortcut unless you really understand the design. Then you know what you're going to give up, right? So preparation, you want to introduce the topic or the subject matter expert to the learner. And then with presentation, you want to be able to say, okay, here's what it is, here's how it works. And then practice is like, here's the use case, here's the hands-on stuff, here's how you configure and install with regards to our technical hands-on. And performance, how do we apply it and give you real-time coaching. If you use this, it'll help tighten your development cycle time. So here's a funny story, it's not so funny, but when I was working in software, we had a situation, there was a business opportunity. A key competitor was getting out of a business market. They decided just to stop. They weren't going to support it. It left about a $70 million hole. Nature abhors a vacuum. So does sales reps. My CRO at the time said, I want my fair share of wallet. It's like, I'm sure you do. So can you build me a program? It's like, okay, 6 weeks. Start to finish, instructor-led, everybody in the room. It's competitive in nature. Can you do it? Sure. So I went to my instructional design cousins. I said, can you help me? He's like, sure, we can do a needs assessment. It'll take us 2 weeks. It's like, no can do. I said, you can't. I said, I don't have the time. So I knew enough about the audience. I knew enough about what they wanted to get after the program. So I was able to build it quickly. Because I went through this process, I didn't go through the normal process. With all due respect, and it works on big projects, but I didn't have time. I had to get out to the end, and then we were able to go ahead and meet that need. And we got our fair share of the $70 million, so that's good. So let's talk about measurement. So a couple approaches that I use with measurement. It depends on your stakeholder, depends on how big the project is, but there's 3 success indicators I look at. Financial, so those are your net present value of the training that you're doing, the business metrics that you have. Leading indicators and lagging indicators. Leading indicators are things that enable success but don't necessarily predict success. And then there's the lagging indicators, which is really what you're measuring, whether it's revenue attainment or market share or any of those things, right? And then the metrics are three pieces. There's service, participant, and business metrics. I'll start with business metrics first. These are the ones that where you talk about matching up, did we achieve the goal of revenue? That's $70 million. If our target was 20, did we achieve it? Those are the business metrics. Participants metrics, if you're familiar with Kirkpatrick's model, we talk about, did they like the training and did they understand it? Did they pass an assessment and all those kinds of things? Those are around the participants. Vanity metrics sometimes, and by the way, you're right, our business leaders don't care. They care about the outcome. They care about the business metrics. And then service metrics is around the operations. Did we deliver the training in an efficient way? Was it on time, et cetera? So think about those things. And then sometimes I draw a measurement map. So literally going from, what we're looking to do all the way to the outcome. And I just literally draw it all the way forward. The best one I use is this line of sight map. So here's an example. Let's say, and this was true, one of the sales directors says, Marty, I need negotiations training. I say, okay, why do you need it? Well, my reps aren't, we're seeing they're giving a lot. In software, we do a lot of discounting. I say, okay. So I ran the training. I said, but I'm going to measure what's the average discount rate per rep before and after. What's the average discount rate per rep per region? And then what's the average discount, what's the average contribution margin? How does that impact the bottom line? I do that kind of, and I drew it out for him and for the CFO. I said, this is what I'm doing. He loved this because it was an easy way to describe how I got from what I was doing to what the impact of the business was. Not that it was like, they knew it was the right thing to do, but I said, you can justify the cost and you can do your own cost-benefit analysis. Okay? Let me just stop here and ask if you have any questions so far. Yes, sir.
On the per region, was that a different sales manager?
Correct. Right, and I put them all through training because I didn't do one of this pre and post beta tests because I mean, there's kids that are starving and I need to give them all everything and then lift up everybody, right? So yeah. Yep.
You mentioned getting top sellers.
Yes.
Relay information to the rest of the system. How do you get them excited about doing that?
So it goes back to what's in it for them. And there's two principles that I go by with every single thing that I do. Is it relevant and is it compelling? Because if it isn't one of those two things, they're not going to pay attention to me. There's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of things competing for their mind. And I'm just one voice. So, but if I can tell them, how do they make money? Someone told, I think it was yesterday, like, show me the money, how do I make it? Here's how you do it. You do these three things, I swear to God, it's cookbook, it's recipe, done, 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 done. Or you're closer than you would be if you try to fumble through and figure it yourself. So, and then once you get one, then, because we do something called win wires, where we just take a win and we deconstruct it and show about how it won, what was the problem, what was the solution, what was the outcome, et cetera, for the customer and for us. And then they find out, so they say, I'm going to talk to that rep, because I want to find out how they did it, because I want to replicate that. It's not good enough that you did it. I want all of you to do it.
So, sorry.
Yep.
So are you getting those top reps that are waiting, are you getting them to create content, or are you getting them to target the content, or
Are you kidding me? No, I'm doing it. So I interview them. Lord knows they can't write. I mean, no, that's why I work with them and I distill out, because I ask those questions about, well, tell me about this, because they're unconsciously competent. They did it and they're not sure why. I'm looking for those whys so that I can make everybody else follow the same thing, at least lift some of the boats. The challenge I have is 20% of my reps make 80% of the revenue for my company. So I'm finding those exemplars or those folks that do it and replicate them. Yep. Yes, sir.
So in A, I didn't, your forward because you find the first thing you focus on design and develop. Are you saying you don't really analyze, implement, and evaluate, or are those wrapped into the forward?
They're wrapped into those four. I'm kind of truncating it because I know the audience, so I don't need to do a full-blown task or job analysis. I already know. So that's how I've done that. But if you're, go ahead. That's right. You do, and that's why I say it depends on the size of the project. You know, right now I just got this thing this morning, ESG. It's kind of this new thing that's rearing its head, environmental, societal, and governance, right? It's big. For that, I will have to do an analysis. I will have to go through the design and the implementation because it's a company-wide initiative, much like this one was with the data integrity, except I knew the audience and I knew where their gaps were, so I didn't have to go through that analysis process. But there's things that I think I might miss if I don't do it with ESG.
How do you, if you assume you know certain things, or you're
Sure.
where do you check to make sure you
Did it's right? Yeah, it's in the design document. So as I put together the plan, I put all my key assumptions and everything that I know about, my working assumptions, and I just validate that with the different types, those 3 horses I was talking about, sales, product management, product marketing. I say, this is what I'm thinking, this is the approach, and then we have to project manage that. That's how I do it. Yep. Other questions? Design is fun. Design matters and it makes a difference. You can tell with the products, a good product, if it's well designed, it's clever, it's intuitive. Same thing with your learning. Now I have some resources for those of you, and I think, Jack, they're going to get these, but I have some detail around the metrics here that will be helpful for you. It's going to answer some of your detailed questions about success indicators, examples of leading and lagging indicators, a scorecard. Paul had talked about the balanced scorecard yesterday, and measurement examples, and I talked about that map. So all of the, and then I filled it out for you. With an airline example. And then this was the bigger one with the line of sight. I use this a lot. This is a tool that I use with my sellers. Okay. Other questions? I have nothing more for you if that's it. Yes? Jack, I think that's done. And Jack, thank you so much for all that you've done for us. I appreciate you and all that. Good enough. Thank you.